Ed, we're back here again with Ed. Ed, are powder post beetles a major problem? What would you typically see with the powder post beetle? When are they introduced to the house? A little background information on powder post beetles, if you could.
Sure. Powder post beetles are an insect that commonly will construct pinholes throughout the overhead floor joists of the basement area. It's an insect that is more prevalent in older construction, as they have a tendency to infest the hardwood floor joists more than soft pine. Typically what you look for is the pinholes and then the coloration of the pinholes. Light versus dark tells us new or aged, and a lot of times you'll see a frass, which is a sawdust-like matter, coming down out of the pinholes. So,
Well, can you tell us a little bit about carpenter ants?
Carpenter ants are an insect that normally would infest moisture damaged areas. So in the course of a home inspection, things such as windowsills, door thresholds, any overhead areas that would show water leaks, that would dampen the wood and destroy some of it, is the area that we're concerned with, as that's the area commonly infested by those.
And unlike the powder post beetle, it's quite often in older homes that were introduced when the home was built, if I've learned from you correctly, the carpenter ant can reoccur if you get close to outside water sources and or trees. And one of your recommendations always to me has been to get rid of mulch.
Yes.
We know how well I've listened to that.
Yeah.
But powder post beetles and carpenter ants are not really that expensive to take care of, are they?
No, usually carpenter ants, less than a couple $100. Powder post beetles is based on the size of the area needed treating. Usually less than $400 or $500 for that insect.
The one that we're always usually a little more worried about than any other is the termite, because
Correct.
It's a little bit more devastating. Is that correct?
Well, they can do a little bit quicker damage, and their damage typically is hidden to interior walls, areas of the home that usually isn't noticed by the common homeowner. So,
In Michigan, a lot of people think that, well, we don't have termites because it's not as prevalent as it is in the South, but that's not true, is it?
no, that's a fallacy that has tended to go away the last several years, as they are being found quite more readily in a lot of areas that we know of are problem points, but as homeowners buy new properties and move around, we are finding them in all four corners of the town now. So.
Wonderful. Well, and shortly here, we're going to go around and follow Ed while he's doing just some cursory inspection that he does do, and we'll give you a little idea of how he does that. What we're doing now is Ed Jones is using one of his new tools, a camera with a light on the end of it, so he can get up and look inside the house to look for, most likely, I'm guessing, Ed, if I'm correct, this is more for termites probably, isn't it?
Well, we've got some rot here, Jeff, and typically when you get rot like this, wet rotted wood would indicate carpenter ant presence. And what we're doing is looking up into the void to make sure that we don't have any signs of those, as well as any serious structural damage. It's one of the tools that we employ along with listening ears to make sure that the inspection is as detailed as possible. And this checks out well.
So Ed, what are you looking for right now? Actually, all the wood destroying insects, aren't you?
Yes. What we're looking for is obviously the general condition of all the floor joists and the flooring, and we're also looking for any of what's called shelter tubes. Unless a termite has a direct wood to ground contact in which to move out of the ground into a wood member, they would construct a shelter tube, a mud shelter tube across the masonry to get up into the wood areas. Similar to what we see over here. A lot of homes you'll see some of the block foundation wall, and then the wood portion of the home starts up here. And so we want to look at the sill plate, make sure we have nothing coming out of the hollow block cores, and like I said, the general shape of the floor trusses, the flooring, and so on.
So we're pretty much, you're not completed with your inspection, but so far everything is coming up negative.
Correct. Yep. So far so good. The upstairs checked out well. No obvious signs of moisture problems. No discoloration or stains in the drywall. The windowsills, the door thresholds all looked in good shape. And now we want to check the understructure of the structure for any signs of termite areas.
Wonderful. Well, we appreciate you doing your work.